up, buddy? Good, how are you? So you're still going to do all the wellness checks at the schools and blizzards and stuff, right? When there's blizzards, you'll still be doing all the wellness checks? Yeah.
Hard to pay. We got a new facility.
I don't want to hear no excuse.
I'm going to break it.
No excuse. Oh, I'm stuck in Cape May.
I'm going to break my new facility, guys.
Yeah. I can't make it in. The bridges are out. We got a nor'easter. Should I go ahead and start the meeting, or?
No.
Yeah, still waiting on it. All right, I'd like to call our meeting to order December 13th, 2021. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Laws of 1975, this meeting has been duly advertised in the South Jersey Times and the Sentinel. The municipal clerk of the township has been duly notified, and the requirements of posting of notices have been met. If you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance at this time. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Trish, would you call the roll, please?
Selleck? Here. Cunningham? Here. Sylvia?
Here.
Fregoso? Here. Chelsea Collins? Here. Dean? Here. Trace? Here. Frank?
Here.
Mayor Moore?
Great. Moving on to our presentations, before I jump into recognizing our outgoing board members, just real quick, there was a student data presentation that had appeared on the agenda last week. After discussing it with a couple individual board members, they had requested that the information be provided prior to the presentation, so I asked Mr. Walton to remove that from this evening's agenda. It actually just so happened to work out beneficially because our New Jersey data is just now coming in. I understand we received some of it today, so that'll be added to the presentation as well, and the presentation will be included in the weekly update, so we have adequate ability to review that prior to it being presented by our staff, so we can ask, obviously intelligent questions regarding the data. So, are there any questions about that or no? Okay, if not, I'll move on to the recognition of some of our outgoing board members. We have 3 board members that will be leaving us this year with quite a bit of combined service. Mrs. Collins has been here 6.5 years. Mr. DeSilvio with 6 years of service, and Mrs. Metzner with close to 3 years, 2 3/4 years of service. So, whereas the board, let me go ahead and read this resolution. Whereas the board members have dedicated a significant amount of time, effort, and expertise as elected members of the Township of Franklin Board of Education. Their service has included countless hours without compensation, dealing with the numerous, often complex, and sometimes controversial issues involving the operation of all aspects of the school district. Now, therefore, it be resolved that this 13th day of December 2021, the Township of Franklin Board of Education formally honors and commends Mrs. Dawn Chelsea Collins, Mr. Nicholas DeSilvio, and Mrs. Jennifer Metzner by the adoption of this resolution, which is to be made a permanent part of the record of the Township of Franklin Board of Education. So, congratulations, guys. We're going to miss you for sure. We have your coveted clocks. If you'd like to take,
Hold that. Dawn. This is next.
where we want to do it then?
We'll do it up front.
Up front. Constellation, take credit. I just want to say it's been a pleasure, working on the board with you guys. The friendship that we built over the years. I know we haven't always agreed on everything or anything sometimes, but I definitely appreciate the time that we've spent together, which is quite a bit of time if you add it all up. So I'm thankful for your service, and definitely going to miss both of you. So.
Can I make a comment?
Sure, yeah, any other board members, yeah, obviously.
Maybe because I started on board with Nick and very close to Dawn, and appreciate, as Jason said, both of your work. One, you wanted to initiate the year. I'm going to miss our banter back and forth. You are one of the most dedicated board members, and I watch a lot of board meetings. That this board has definitely never seen. We're going to miss you and your insight. So hopefully this won't be the end of us. Thank you.
Anyone else like to make a comment? If not, just congratulations again. All right, moving on to our public comment section for agenda items only. At this time, I make a motion, we open to the public. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed, abstentions? Anyone from the public like to comment this evening on anything that's listed on this evening's agenda? Please step forward and state your name.
We go to the foul line.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
First of all, congratulations to the retiring board members. It's something that I haven't spent 9 years serving on the board, 2 separate iterations. It's, of all the many things I served on over the years, it's sometimes the most thankless job in terms of getting back feedback, but it's also the most important thing you can do. Thank you to all those who did, have done it, and continue to do it. Secondarily, I'd like to congratulate Nick. I believe he'll be the first person to represent Franklin Township on the Board of Commissioners or the Board of Freeholders since I sat on there, Nick. And that was a few years ago. So it's been a long hiatus. And may you spend at least as many years as I did on there, and may you enjoy the chairmanship at some point along the way as I did. In any case, that's still to be seen in the future, but your preparation here on this board will prepare you for dealing with that board, and the dealings that you have here are very much like the ones you'll have on the freeholder board, except that they don't throw softballs at all, they throw hardballs at all times. And, I'm sure you'll be adept at hitting them, and best of luck to you. In terms of your agenda tonight, Mr. Chairman, there are just 2 items that I'd like to speak about. The first one is, I know you were planning on going to closed session, and I believe you were going to talk about the removal of a board member for non-attendance. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
And will that be held in a closed session?
As of right now, I believe so, yes.
Is that the appropriate way to do it, Mr. Solicitor?
I believe it is. It's, there's really not any on-point guidance on this particular process. There's nothing statute or law that says it shall be done a particular way. So based upon how we conduct certain proceedings, I think that's the appropriate way for this to be conducted.
As is my want, based on my many years of being on boards, went to look at the New Jersey School Board's recommendations in terms of policies and missing meetings, and it very clearly stated that you should have a policy in place on the board as to how to deal with it. Have you dealt with this in the past, Mr. President or Mr. Solicitor, through you?
Not during my tenure on the board, we have not. We do have a policy that lays out the procedure generally, but it doesn't, I don't believe it says specifically.
Have you dealt with this in the past as board solicitor?
No.
30 years you've been here and you haven't dealt with it?
Correct.
The timing of it is very interesting. There are many changes about to take place. You're about to lose Mr. DeSilvio, which I'm sure will be a resignation prior to his swearing in on the Board of Commissioners for Gloucester County. That will change the dynamics as to the board and who replaces Mr. DeSilvio. It's somewhat Machiavellian to time it for this time. There are many things taking place. There's the possible retirement of Mr. Walton in the near future or in the future. There's the possible replacement of the superintendent. There's the possible bringing together of the Delsey, Elk Township, and Franklin boards. There are many things taking place that would lead you to question the timing of what's going on tonight. If there were many terrible things that were happening, if there were a lot of 4-4 votes and a lot of things in terms of disruptions, that would be one thing. Has that happened, Mr. President? Have there been any disruptions?
I don't know what you would constitute disruptions, but I mean, there's been some contentious meetings and some contentious votes. Yeah.
There are always going to be some
Yeah.
contentious meetings. That's
Yeah.
why we have a president sort it out and do what's necessary. The second thing is, do you have a policy in place as to Zoom meetings or participating remotely if someone cannot be at a meeting?
We do, yes.
Okay, so someone could participate remotely or not in person. Is that allowed?
I haven't read the policy multiple times, so I can't. I don't want to give you an inaccurate
Well, it's
answer.
something that- it's
So.
something that you might want to discuss. And thirdly, you have the COVID crisis going on. You have a lot of displacement, you have a lot of problems in that area. And you have a reality in terms of accommodations of people that are in healthcare and providing care for people in emergent situations. And again, it's something that I'm sure you'll sort out, but it's something that should be sorted out in the time and the fashion that is to the benefit of the board and not to the future of determining who the next board member to replace Mr. DeSilvio is, or at the timing right now. It just becomes very suspicious and very Machiavellian. And again, I would urge you to think it clearly through. The second matter I had discussion was I noticed that you had a policy change, 3303 in terms of the administration of medicine that was going to be done. That has nothing to do with the COVID inoculations, does it, Mr. President?
Mr. Kennedy, if I could refer that question to our policy committee chair.
No, that has to do with administration of medicine on field trips.
Good.
We need to add that language.
Because I know there was some discussion from some of the board members about mandatory vaccinations for students attending Franklin Township Public Schools.
There was no discussion regarding vaccinations of students. It was related to staff only. There has not yet been any discussion.
There was no discussion about making it
Not
mandatory.
nothing mandatory for staff or students. Never been brought up, never discussed, never suggested.
To the meetings.
No, you go to the meetings, I'm not there. Again, just a simple question. Obviously, the mask mandates and many of the problems that people had with the mask mandates obviously played some part in your elections this year. Well, again, yeah, it was. And again, the mandates, those aren't discussed or haven't been discussed and aren't under consideration at the present time, Mr. President.
Yeah, to clarify, there has been many discussions with the board regarding mandates.
Yeah, right, and what your powers are vis-a-vis the governors, and
Exactly.
state mandates and everything else. And you, again, your solicitor's here to advise you what your rights are and what your obligations are under the state law. And those are not discussions that have taken place to the best of your knowledge by any member of the board in terms of requiring mandatory inoculations.
By the board now, not
By
that I'm
any
aware of.
members of the board?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay,
So,
great. Thank you very much for your time.
yeah. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy.
Nancy Kennedy, 711 St. George Street. I just wanted to take a minute to thank Nick for your service. As a parent, I had the opportunity to sit in several meetings and observe how you always supported our teachers, who are the absolute heart and soul of this school district. And so I just wanted to say thank you. And it's also very heartwarming to see how you trust the teachers and our excellent administration in sending your own children to the school, how you show that faith and that trust in what an excellent job that our school district does. So best of luck as a commissioner. We will be following your success very closely. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kennedy. Any other members of the public would you like to comment? If not, I make a motion we close to the public. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? All right, next item we have is our executive session this evening to discuss some legal and personnel matters. as far as timing,
I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes? 45 minutes.
anyone?
You should probably say an hour, because if you say 45, we'll never
Yeah, well-
The items we're going to discuss is, one of them is the issue of a board member removal, and the other items, I guess, are personnel agenda in general,
Or HR general, yep.
and some negotiations, or,
Yes, and an update on a conversation regarding Newfield.
okay.
Okay. So personnel, legal, and then the other matter regarding the board member. So at this time, I make that motion to go into executive session. Do I have a second? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? There will be action taken after the executive session. Everybody back? I make a motion we come out of executive session at 7:08. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? At this time, in lieu of our discussion in executive session related to the potential board member removal, prior to proceeding with the balance of our agenda, I will give any member the opportunity now, should they wish to make a motion relative to that discussion. Is there anyone that would like to make a motion regarding that? Could you state the motion, please, Michelle?
I make a motion to remove Diane Trace as a board member.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion seconded by Alicia. Are there any questions? Any board members? No? Mr. Borelli, any other comments, or we can make a roll call?
Call the roll.
If you call the roll, please, Trish.
Fregoso?
Yes.
Joseph Collins?
Yes.
Keen?
No.
Caselli?
No.
Cunningham?
Yes.
DeSilvio?
No.
Brand?
No.
Tie vote, motion is not carried.
All right. Moving on, we have our minutes from, I'm sorry, I skipped over board president reports. I don't have anything specific to report as of right now. Mr. DeSilvio, as your last meeting as NJ SBA representative, do you have anything?
Nothing. It's just that the county meeting was tonight, so I don't know how that's going to work.
Right.
Sorry. And I think Leah would be a good replacement.
You endorse her nomination for, she's going to be our master board member. So. All right, moving forward, we have approval of the minutes from the November the 15th combined meeting. If anyone have any questions regarding those minutes, have you had an opportunity to look over them? If so, I make a motion to approve the minutes as listed from the November 15th board meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No? All right, moving on to human resources. Mr. Walton.
Okay, so we reviewed all the agenda items except for policies. This is kind
So
of.
I'll start with the abolishing one first. 2416 is being abolished. It's covered in our policy 5752, and Jonathan and Alicia, if I forget to take them down. There are a couple of policies on for first reading. One is 2425, emergency workforce instruction program. That's basically the fact that the district has to have a plan in place for when we need to close during more than 60 days, and we have to
thing you missed is that we need to congratulate the policy committee because we did
Oh, that's
finalize our School Boards Association wellness check. And this has literally been 3 years in the making. When I look back, we started reviewing that policy check 3 years ago in November. So I want to thank all of the members who have served on the policy committee over those 3 years, and certainly Michelle for her leadership in that committee. So congratulations, work well done.
Great job. Anything else?
That's it for HR.
All right. Anyone have any questions regarding HR items? If not, I make a motion we approve G1 through G12 as recommended by the superintendent. Do I have a second? Any other comments? If not, if you call the roll, please, Trish.
DeSilvio,
Yes.
Fregoso,
Yes.
Joseph Collins,
Yes.
Keen,
Yes.
Trace,
Yes.
Maselli,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Brant,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right. Moving on to our education. I'm
portion,
sorry.
yep.
Yes.
Only 2 items with action items here, H3 and H4. We have a couple of out-of-district workshops for approval, and then a few in-house workshops. If you take a look, we are going to dedicate our January 14, 2022 Professional Development Day to staff wellness. So you can take a look at all of the items there. That Staff Wellness Day will be fully funded by the grant, so by federal funds, which is great. So you can take a look. We have music therapy, aromatherapy, massage therapist, stretch and relaxation, yoga. We even have service animals coming. So really try to dedicate that to our professionals, our teachers, our administrative staff, our support staff. Just really a good work out of the SEL committee to develop that. So we're excited about that. That's it.
Great. Any questions on education items? If not, I make a motion we approve items H1 through H6 as recommended by the superintendent. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other comments? Trish, would you call the roll, please?
Keen, Trace,
Yes.
Maselli,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
DeSilvio,
Yes.
Fregoso,
Yes.
Joseph Collins, Mr. Brant,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right. General administration.
Yeah, all normal monthly stuff, enrollment, attendance, drills, discipline, it's all normal stuff. We did review the HIB back in executive. If you could just take a look at I-7, I try to keep you guys updated with the weekly update, but you can see the significant amount of positive COVID cases that we have had this year. In fact, we have already surpassed last year's total. So I do publicly want to give kudos to the staff who's been dealing with this, especially my nursing staff, because if you think about it, they've done a year's worth of contact tracing already here in 3 months. So, I try to stop and see them at least a couple of times a week to thank them for what they're doing. So, COVID Tracker is available on the website to keep the community up to date.
Any comments or questions?
Do we know the percentage of staff that are vaccinated that have tested positive?
I don't know that. We have about 85% of the staff that's vaccinated, but how many tested positive, I'd have to do a little digging.
Any other questions? If not, I make a motion to approve general administration items I-1 through I-7 as recommended by the superintendent. Do I have a second? Any other comments or questions? If not, if you call the roll, please, Trish.
Joseph Collins,
Yes.
Keen, Trace,
Yes.
Maselli, Cunningham,
Yes.
DeSilvio,
Yes.
Fregoso,
Yes.
Brant,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right. Operations, Trish.
Operations is actually pretty light for the normal items. Item number 1, our claims and payroll is normal. Does anybody have any questions on the bill list or any time to review? Seeing none, I'll move on. Item 2 are the budget transfers for the month of October 2021. Items 3 and 4 are the over expenditure certifications for the month of October 2021 with the board secretary report and treasurer report.
Anyone have any questions regarding any of those items? If not, I will make a motion to approve Operations Committee items J1 through J12 as listed. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other comments? If not, if you call a roll, please, Trish.
Cunningham?
Yes, abstain from bills number 2, check number 5066.
Noted, thank you. Mr. Sylvia?
Yes.
Mr. Goso?
Yes, abstain from those two.
The whole thing or just the bills?
IT, shared services.
Got it. Thank you. Chelsea Collins?
Yes.
Keen?
Yes.
Trace?
Yes.
Casali?
Yes.
Brand?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, moving on, we have nothing listed on our old business. On our new business,
I have a business.
sure.
I just wanted to discuss with the board, in last week's weekly update, I had asked for some information in regards to, and we had discussed this too with the board, in regards to staff meeting, getting some of that information aggregated out in terms of years, building, grade level, and so forth. And Troy had said that at this point, the strategic committee that's one of the goals or one of the subjects they are attacking, which I appreciate that. But I would assume then, maybe I shouldn't be assuming, but that the committee has that information or is getting that information. Is that correct?
That's incorrect. So the action planning committee is actually just putting together the action steps, with teasing out that data is certainly one of the action steps. But I do have Mrs. Benini working with that, because it'll be more relevant for the negotiations committee come January to certainly take a look at that. And if we'd like to share it with the full board, we certainly can.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you. So that's in January, we could possibly see that information?
Probably the end of January, correct. I mean, at that point, actually, the full board should even have a conversation in regards to parameters of negotiations. So yes, you have a negotiations committee that you're setting forth, but it really should be a full board conversation to give that committee guidance, and certainly we can have that data to help that conversation along.
But I think, Michelle, if I remember correctly, it's also considered for the parent or in the district, not just the retention going forward, but looking at turnover that we've seen in the last 12 to 18 months, and what patterns might be identified.
Absolutely, and our action committee, certainly, we had a great, and I'm pointing to Sue because Sue actually serves on that committee as well. Certainly had a great first meeting brainstorming all of those, a lot of discussion items there.
Anyone else?
Any board members on any of the committees?
At this point, I have none.
Are you volunteering?
I did, but I refuse to do a virtual stuff.
Okay.
I don't want.
All right, moving on, new business. Obviously, it comes as no surprise, but unfortunately, we do have to accept Mr. DeSilvia's resignation. There's no way we can keep him on. Serve on both boards.
Sure you can, there's ways.
He's already got his clock back.
Yeah.
We already paid for it.
So I don't know, do I need to make a motion to approve that, or accept that, or?
Yes, please.
I make a motion, regretfully, to accept Mr. DeSilvia's resignation. Do I have a second? All in favor? Opposed, abstentions? Anyone else have anything for new business?
But I would like to thank Nick.
Thank the board for everything that they've done for me the past 6 years, all the friendships that I've made. I'd like to thank the administration, Mr. Wall, for being an awesome superintendent, and the crowd in the back here. You guys are awesome. I thought tonight I was gonna leave on a somber note, but, as predicted, there's a little bit of passion involved, so it's all good. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
You beat me to the punch, Nick. I did want to say thank you for your service. I really appreciate it, your support.
Thank you.
If things don't work out in your new job, let us know. Happy to have you back. So, moving forward, we have our second public comment portion. Make a motion, we open to the public. I have a second. All in favor? Opposed, abstentions? We're open for public comment, if anyone from the public would like to comment. at this time. Please step forward, state your name.
Nancy Hennig, 711 St. George Street. Two quick questions. I noticed when the last round of voting was going on, there were 2 abstentions. And I just wanted to know the reasons for the abstentions, and I didn't catch what they were about.
I can,
One was Ms. Cunningham and one was Ms. Fregoso.
sure, I can probably answer Ms. Fregoso, and she can correct me if I'm wrong, but she, conflict of interest for bills relating to Delsey. Anything,
What were the bills related to Delta?
we have a shared service with Delsey for IT services. So, Ms. Cunningham, you mind sharing?
Conflict of interest.
What was the conflict?
You-
Conflict of interest.
I have a raised as a member of the public. I'll be over the information, but I'd like to know what the conflict is.
I can't answer the question. I don't know what the conflict is, Ms.
Just so the
Cunningham.
record's clear, a board member's refusing to explain why they won't vote in a public hearing. Okay,
Because I teach with the lady that received the check.
thank you very much. That wasn't so hard. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Everyone have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Anyone else like to comment?